It probably is a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh's fans' dreams to have their own card created in the real TCG. And you can definitely see that with the vast amount of custom cards that you see online. But there are a bunch of official cards that were made by fans just like you and me. The most famous example of that is the card Tyler the Great Warrior. That card was created by Tyler Gressel as a part of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, since he was suffering an illness at the time. But now let's take a look at other cards you might not have known are fan-made. Starting with the GX era, 3 notable cards were submitted by fans for the contest called Yu-Gi-Oh! Design Your Destiny Card Contest. First, we have Dragon Ice, a level 5 water dragon monster with 1800 attack and 2200 defense. This card was created by Adam B, and the original drawing of this monster seemed already pretty detailed, so I'm sure adapting it was a real piece of cake. Its effect is to be able to special summon itself by discarding 1 card and if your opponent summons a monster. But there can only be 1 copy of itself on the field. This effect is unfortunately not that great since Cyber Dragon was already out and it had a higher attack and no cost to special summon itself. Following this card is Tongue Twister, who is a level 6 Dark Fiend monster with 400 attack and 300 defense. And this card was created by Shamus B. And yeah, it's pretty weak. If it's tribute summoned, sent to the graveyard, you can draw 2 cards and then have to banish it. While drawing 2 cards is great, giving up your normal summon isn't. Well, maybe you can cheat it out with cards that help you tribute summon it, but still, with the amount of attack and defense this card has, I don't think it's worth it. Although it's fun to see the original drawing, there's a lot of possible names this card could have had, but in the end, I guess Konami decided to choose Tongue Twister for some reason? Or maybe it was Shamus who decided that. Next card on the list is Screech, a very creative name. It's a level 4 water reptile monster with 1500 attack and 400 defense, created by Christian L. Its effect is to send 2 water monsters from your deck to the graveyard if it's destroyed by battle. It seems like a card that could be abusable in some way since there's no once per turn, but I guess being destroyed by battle is enough of a restriction. Another card released during the GX era is the card Rallis the Starbird, created by Kaori Kimura. It's a level 3 Wind Wing Beast monster with 800 attack and 800 defense. This card's effect is to gain 200 attack per level of the monster it battles, then it banishes itself until the next battle phase. It seems to be related to another card called Gallus the Star Beast, and maybe Konami was inspired by this fan-made card. Going into the 5Ds era, we have multiple cards made by fans. First, we have Bird of Roses, a level 4 wind plant monster that can special summon 2 plant tuner monsters from your graveyard in defense position, if it was destroyed by battle in attack position and sent to the graveyard. This card was designed by Kento Hirasawa, and even appeared in the 5Ds anime in the episode 77 where Lua and Luca duel Luciano. It was used by Luca, but seems more appropriate for Aki since she uses a plant deck. The original drawing has a description, but I unfortunately can't confirm if it's the same effect. Next we have the Synchro monster, Chaos King Archfiend, a level 7 Dark Fiend monster who needs a Fiend tuner and a non-tuner created by Hayate Ogura, and its effect is to switch the attack and defense of all monsters your opponent controls until the end phase. This card was actually used by Jack Atlas in the 76th episode of 5Ds during a duel with a gang of thieves. This card's original artwork features an effect, but again, I don't know if it's the same effect. Another card used by a main character is Morphtronic Vacuum Man, a level 1 Wind Machine monster. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the name of the person who created it, but we do have an original drawing of the monster. It has an effect in attack and defense position, just like every Morphtronic monsters. In attack, you can burn your opponent for 500 by sending a card equipped to this card. And in defense, you can equip 1 attack position monster to this card. Pretty mediocre effects to be honest, although the second one is kind of a removal effect without targeting or destroying a card. It was used by Lua in the 78th episode of 5Ds during his duel against Luciano. Up next is Planet Rose, a level 6 wind plant monster with 2200 attack and 2000 defense. This is another card where the name of the creator seems to not be public. However, it is clear to see that this card was made for the Rose archetype used by Aki and appeared in the 75th episode of 5Ds during her duel against Ushio. This card halves the attack of an opponent monster until the end phase by banishing a plant monster from your graveyard. And during the battle you can also banish a monster, and this card can make a second attack. Following this up is Vampire Dragon, a level 5 dark zombie monster that has 2400 attack and 0 defense. This card was created by Christopher B for the contest Duel to Rule competition. And when this card is tribute summoned and sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add one level 4 or lower monster from your deck to your hand, obviously. Unfortunately, there's no original drawing this time too, but again, this monster's effect is very restricted since you have to sacrifice your normal summon to activate its great effect of adding a card. And the last card from the 5Ds era is a card that a lot of people actually know about and had an impact in the game's history. But you might never have known that this card was actually fan-made, and the card I'm talking about, or actually the two cards that are related that I'm talking about, is Drill Warrior and its tuner counterpart, Drill Synchron. Now, Drill Warrior is a level 6 Synchro monster that needs Drill Synchron as its tuner material and other non-tuner monsters. It has decent stats, with 2400 attack and 2000 defense. But what made this card so great is its second effect. While the first effect of this card is to attack directly by having its attack, its second effect enabled him to discard one card and then banish itself. And then during your next standby phase, it special summoned itself, and then you could add one monster card from your graveyard to your hand. Basically, you could recycle a lot of monster cards, but the one that most people use was Dandelion, which provided free tokens to be tributed or used as Synchro materials. Its counterpart Drill Synchron didn't really have the same impact in the real life card game since its effect is kinda mediocre. If a warrior monster inflicted piercing damage, you could draw one card. That's it. Not very useful, to be honest, too specific to draw one card. Now let's move on to the Zexal era. First we have the card Bachi Bachi Bachi, which was created by Takazawa Keisuke. This card was seen in the 74th episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, and has the ability to grant piercing damage to an Xyz monster who used it as an Xyz material. Being a level 3 with 800 attack and 800 defense, it didn't have really any real life uses. Next up is Tatakawa Knight, who is a level 4 Earth Warrior monster with 1500 attack and 0 defense. It was created by Takamizawa Hayato. This card can inflict 1500 damage when your opponent negates one of your spell or trap cards. Kind of a situational effect, to be honest, but the amount of damage is pretty high for a single card. This card was also used by Yuma in the episode 77 of the Zexal anime, and even in chapter 14 of the Zexal manga. Following this up is Dote Do Tengu, a level 3 wind fiend monster with 0 attack and 800 defense, created by an unknown person. This card returns one card your opponent controls and returns it to the hand, if it's sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect. This card was seen in the episode 76 of the Zexal anime. This is a new tech against Dark Worlds. The final color I want to present comes from the Arc 5 era, for a thing called Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 Start Commemoration Monster Design Contest. And the card, created by Imai Misuki, is none other than Performapal Trump Witch, a level 1 Dark Spellcaster Pendulum monster with 100 attack and 100 defense, with a Pendulum scale of 4. Its Pendulum effect is to be able to fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters you control as fusion materials, but obviously can only use it once per turn. And its monster effect is to be able to tribute this card and add one polymerization from your deck or graveyard to your hand. It's pretty much a polymerization support card, and this fan-made card seems to be the one that appears the most in the anime, since it appears in episode 32, 39, 50, and 110 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5. The original drawing of this card seems to have a bunch of notes in it with some details about her design. I do wonder what those notes say about this monster. So this was a list of all the fan-made cards that were created in the real-life card game. Unfortunately, most of them don't really have any impact in the real card game's meta, with the exception of Drill Warrior. But throughout different eras, fan-made cards have emerged through contests and competitions. Some of these cards have even made appearances in the anime, further showcasing the connection between fans and the Yu-Gi-Oh! Universe. Although not all fan-made cards have had a significant impact on the game, they have provided a platform for fans to express their love for the franchise and contributed their unique ideas. If you want to help out with the channel, give a like, subscribe, and watch another video perhaps. Until next time!